Okay, so here we are with a photo that's discolored mostly. There is a lot of noise in the original. There's some spots too, but that's mainly, there's that there. I don't know what that is, probably discoloration. Just a little bit there. But that's the main issue here, is the color's off. There's a way to fix that. Normally, I would go into the levels adjustment and do it manually, but there is an auto option. So let me create some duplicates here, and we'll hide this one. For this one, we'll let Photoshop do the work and just auto everything. So that's the result that we have. And just rotate it a little. Okay. That's what we got. That's not bad. It's definitely desaturated because of the fading. And it makes whatever that is. I have a feeling that's actually, I don't know. I can't tell. This is kind of a low quality scan. They gave me a higher one. They gave me a TIFF with like a 600 something DPI, which normally that's what I'd work on, and I really recommend that you work on high quality scans. But this wasn't one that had damage to warrant that. This is mostly just color. So I think I'm gonna assume that's just the stain, but we're not. Yeah, because I could see it on the edges here too. So what we will be doing is comparing the differences between Photoshop's auto commands and manual correction using the levels dialog. So that's Photoshop. That's what it did itself. That's not bad. It's kind of cool. The whites are white for the most part, which is good. But the photo's too cool. The skin's not really warm enough. So we will correct this manually and then compare the differences. So we'll name this one auto. And this one manual. So let's make this visible, and what we first want to start out with is to make this a smart filter. And then it says to re-enable it, and just hit OK. So now any filters or adjustments we put onto this layer, this smart filter, we can go back and adjust it without having to hit Command Z, like step backward a whole bunch of times. Because you want to be able to adjust it even after you've done the spot removal. Because there's no sense in doing all the spot removal or denoising, and then you have to step backward a million friggin' times to get to your adjustment, the color. So by converting the layer to a smart filter, that lets us adjust it anytime we want. Okay, so remember, this is Photoshop's auto option. This is what it did, which is good for the most part. Most would be happy with it. I prefer to keep my pictures warmer because this is too cool for my liking. It's not like they had a giant white light above them. There's got to be a little yellow because most bulbs are yellow. They got the crazy LED ones, but this probably wasn't at the time viable option. So re-enable manual so we could see just the base image. I'm going to go to image here, adjustments, and then levels. So this is what we see. Don't mess with preset, just leave it alone. And we want to change the channel from RGB, all of them, to red first. And you see how that spikes there, but the slider, the black point for the reds, is all the way over here. Same with the white, or shadows and highlights, midtones. Either way, you want to bring each one to just where the spike starts. So that's done. Leave the midpoint, don't touch it. And then we move on to the next, which is green. Same thing. Bring to where the spike starts. Bring to the spike. And then same with blue. Bring to the spike. As I adjust the blue, you can see we're starting to get something better looking here. Yeah, bring to the spike. Same with this one. Bring to the spike. So now you can see we got some better colors. But it's way cooler than the oh well, it's too cool compared to Photoshop's automatic. Oh, here we go, beach wall. Okay, you can see that basically Photoshop's auto looks better at this point, but that's because we didn't adjust it too fine. So let's go back and adjust the levels. And again, we could change it any time because it's a smart filter now. Go back to blue because there's a lot of blue, and that's what we want to avoid. And I can either push the blues further in, which that looks pretty good there, which basically warms up the image, you can see. So I could either push the blues in, or the black point or shadow, whatever. Or I can pull this one out. We'll bring that back to the start, and we'll push the blues in. Not too far. Right about there. Looks okay. So you can see that's what we have now. And that's pretty good to me, because again, I prefer a warmer picture. So now we're going to compare my manual adjustment using the levels dialog to each individual color channel to Photoshop's auto actions. So my adjustment, Photoshop. My adjustment, Photoshop. My adjustment, Photoshop. Let me know which ones you think is better. I prefer my adjustment because most older photos have a warm quality to them. And you don't want to remove that because then it just it looks too cold. And part of a photo's impression on people is the color balance. And if this photo, for the person who owns it, if it's too cool, they're not going to have the same feeling as if it was warm. Because more than likely, before it faded the color in the original, it was probably a warmer color. So, again, ours, Photoshop's. Ours, Photoshop's. So that's pretty good there. And we can turn the entire adjustment off because it's a smart filter, or adjust it again if we choose to do so. So now let's look at physical damage and then meta damage to noise. Let's create a new layer. Actually, we'll take our noise first. So let's go to one of our two options. We could either do despeckle or dust and scratches, and each does a job in a specific area. So let's zoom in. Let's go to filter, let's go to noise, and let's despeckle. You can see the difference it made. But the problem is despeckle, along with dust and scratches, can reduce clarity, like the sharpness of the photo, because you can see it blurs it ever so slightly. The low photo quality doesn't really help with that, but fortunately I don't feel like going and digging out the high resolution one, finding it. So that's not really too good. I don't like that. So all we do, since it's a smart filter, just drag and delete. So let's try with dust and scratches. It has the same effect. It blurs and kind of unsharpens. You can see though. Come on, is it gonna let me? Nope. Okay, it's not letting me. I'll just have to move it manually. You can see it does a pretty good job of removing like problem areas. But then the problem is that it kind of unsharpens the photo. But what we can do for that, unlike the despeckle, is we can adjust the threshold. So let's go up 1 point at a time. And what this is going to do is adjust the threshold for what it's trying to reduce. So let's go to a point where pretty much all of the damage is visible, which I'd say is right there. And let's go back from there until we get to a point to where we're happy with the result. And I want to set it at like right here. We'll do 15. And now you can tell that it reduced all the dust and scratches, and there's one up there too. Well, without destroying, for the majority of the part, the image's sharpness and quality, which at this point, quality is kind of out of the question here. It's obviously bad, but that's my fault. I didn't download the high-res one. So that's that. Now, since it's a smart filter, let's turn it off and on to see what it did. Pretty decent job. There's some stuff it didn't get, but that's okay. Can't get everything. Okay, so now let's do spot removal. Call this spot. And for spot removal, because I'm using a Wacom tablet, I can choose a fairly large brush size, since I got pressure sensitivity, as you can see there. Oh, and if I'm speaking weird, it's because I'm monitoring my mic input through a pair of headphones, and there's a slight delay because I have a filter running, noise reduction. So you could see here, that's the recording that's currently going down. But that's why I might speak something oddly. It's because sometimes there's a delay. So with that out of the way, let's get back to Photo Jazz, and let's just work on these spots. I usually go slightly larger than the spot itself. Oh, don't forget to sample all layers, herder. Because you want it to know that there's other texture and data outside of the spot that you want it to sample. Alright. Let's go through and remove what you think is considered a spot, which is, you know, something like that. And that's the majority of the work for this particular picture, spot removal. Now if you see something like that, like a strange pattern in color, I usually spot remove that too. Do something like that, because lines they're patterns that you can easily see, and so if you kind of just smudge it like that, it breaks it up and you won't notice it. So on we go, spot removal. But you have to be careful because there will be that was botched. That's better. There'll be things that you think is a spot, like the reflection on this grape or whatever the hell that is, and you'll heal it, spot healing, but you don't want to because it's not a spot, it just looks like one, the kind we're looking for at least, which is physical damage. And if you do that too many times, if you spot removal too many things that were in the original at the time that are actually part of the photograph, then the person who owns it, when they see the final result, might notice it. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do have to remove something that was part of the original. But in that case, I usually just upload a version with it removed and without it. Just export it twice without the one layer. Just because although you have a general idea for what you want done, the owner of the original photograph might not think you would get to a certain item or want it there, and then you have to go back and remove the brush stroke or undo the layer. Oh, my Wacom tablet wigged out for a second. It does that. Right now it's plugged in via the cord. It's fully charged and stuff. I just don't really feel like unplugging it, because I'm actually sitting in a fairly comfortable chair right now. So just spot. Oh, now here's a problem with low quality photos. Highly detailed areas you're gonna have trouble with unless you're cloning via the clone stamp. So you can see that didn't work, so let's undo that and let's try with just a slightly smaller brush stroke. Better. Good enough. Let's see. Pretty good, pretty good. Really isn't any issues here. A lot of older photos can seem like unsharp, and that's because there might be camera shake or it might be too noisy, and so you misperceive the noise as loss of detail, which it basically is, but you don't have a choice sometimes. So that's pretty good. I like that. You can see here, well, before and after all the spot removal. And you might not think it makes a difference really, but it can. If there's a lot of spots, it really does, but this is satisfactory enough for me. Okay, next. Let's view this photo at its normal, like, position. And it's, yeah. I'm gonna have to go to a chiropractor if I keep trying to look at that photo right. So let's crop, and we're gonna draw out just basically a big rectangle here, and transform, rotate. Whoa, what? Oh, okay. Make your selection on a new layer so it doesn't select pixels. Oh, yeah, well, no, there's no pixels, duh. I'm an idiot. Okay, not working out as intended. Should have cropped before. Actually, I probably, yeah, you know what, I probably still can, because I don't think it's gonna affect anything. Let me transform my selection please. Okay, yeah, I know that. So transform the selection. I'm gonna rotate my canvas here if I can try to with my Wacom's touch gestures, which is kind of sketchy. And it doesn't want to work. There we go. Okay, good enough. And now we just position my crop. I want to try to keep the 2/3 rule in mind here. It usually looks pretty good. And okay, I like that. Image crop. Why didn't that work? Why didn't you crop? Oh, this is confusing. Okay, that's not working for whatever reason. That's okay. There's a solution. It's just not what you normally want to do, and that is to click your top layer, shift click everything else, and drag it to the new layer button, which is going to create a duplicate of everything. And then you want to control and merge layers. So this creates a duplicate of everything under it onto one layer. You can see there's no difference because everything else is visible. So now we can crop as we intended to, which that is acting weird. Whoa. Oh, that's why that. Interesting. Okay, now we're in business. So let's drag to where we want it to be. I'm gonna go with right there. Maybe a little bit more. Okay. Yes, I want my selection to be there and crop. Why does it keep doing that? Maybe. Trim. Nope. Strange. It cropped out like part of my selection there. I don't know why it's not. You know what, we'll just do this the complicated way. Spring, come on, let me rotate. There we go. That back to start. And Pastito. Why? Okay, that's not working right. I cannot think of why. It's not letting me crop it the right way. I've done this before, and usually I can get it to work. But I don't know why I can't. Well, we're basically done with the restoration. The main thing now is cropping. And I don't understand why. Oh, I know why. I know why. Because we were cropping and it normally would delete what's outside of it. But there's still everything else, so it looks normal. Okay. Boop, 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 boop. So now we only have our crop copy is what I usually call them. And just go ahead and rotate a little bit. Drop my selection. Okay, rotate. Everything actually lined it up perfectly. So I'm just going to bring it up a little bit more. Like right there. It's all lined up and everything. Boop. Image crop. Still doing it. Why is that? It's that works. I don't know why. Transform. Okay. Maybe. Oh. It's still. Damn it. It's cropping just the outside, which is stupid, and I don't want it to work that way. And I don't know why it is working that way. Let's just go back with this retarded cropping mechanism right now. So it still looks good. Maybe no. Yeah, I can't seem to think why it would act that way. Unless maybe bump up the canvas size. Maybe it's not cropping it right because it doesn't want to let me because of the canvas size. So let's go ahead and do that. Transformer selection again for the millionth and billionth time. And let's get it all lined up. Almost. A little bit wider. So we have some room. And I'm still friggin' good enough. Within boundaries, just barely. But I am regardless. It's still. Come on. Why? Why you do that? Okay, whatever. It's cropping all that out. Oh, you know what? Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay. Okay. I get it now. Now I know why it wants to be mean. I wasn't inversing the selection. I thought that the other problem would fix it. Let's hope this one does. Still no. Why? Why? Maybe I can, you know what, I'm just gonna have to cut it. That didn't even work. Oh, okay. So I see where we are now. Let's undo all that. Okay. So that's good. Shouldn't have. Oop. Okay. What do we got here? Alright, alright, alright. I am miserably failing at cropping this picture. Miserably is a perfect word. But I'm exhausted. I'm tired. So my brain's not working right. Usually I have a cup of coffee with me when I'm restoring, not tonight. It's just not working well for me. It wants to snap. I forgot that I have that turned on in the preferences. I'll turn that off later. But we'll go with that. That looks good. I like that. Okay. Yep, that's a good selection. It's still's doing it. Why? Why? This is getting annoying. Come on. Wonder what that does. Whoa. Oh, okay. Yeah, not gonna mess with that. Although it'd be nice if it fixed my problem here. Canvas. No. What's this? Nope. Well, whatever that is, slowed my computer down for a second. Fine edge. No, it knows what the edge is. Oh. Oh, okay. Let's try that. Well, that at least gives us kind of what we want. Good enough, honestly. I couldn't seem to figure out why this was not working for me. Magic wand the edges. Select inverse. And transform. Yay, okay. So we're doing good. We did good, people. We figured it out. But I still need to... Oh, that's not working. You cut off, like, the corners. That's okay. Because I'll just go in and crop. Oops. A little bit more. And crop it to just barely where we can manage. Which is gonna be right there. Bring this in just a little bit. Okay. Okay. Yay. Good. Better. So that's it. I mean, we basically just did it. Took a hell of a lot longer than I thought it would for a crop, but it's good enough for me. And what we'll do, this is the Reddit user, which at the time of this recording has not determined whether I'm allowed to upload this, but I will be asking, and if I get permission, then I will upload this video. If not, then not, because it is his photo, his property, therefore it's at his discretion if I should upload a video than me working on it. Okay, so we're gonna call this post crop. We wanna just basically save it as a PSD for everything. Let's deselect, same thing, save as before crop. And I'm gonna assume, because it's at an awkward angle, that he's gonna want the cropped version. So at this point, since we have both saved as PSDs, we can come back and export at any time we want. We're gonna make this post crop finished. That way we know it's finished. Bump up the quality as good as we can get it. And that is it. So let's look at what we have. Alright. Put my welcome pen into his holder. Okay. Original. Before crop. Post crop. So let's line these up. Get rid of my Finder window here. Shrink this one down a little bit. So, before crop original, before crop color balanced using levels manually, and post crop. So that's what we have. And as a conclusion, I personally prefer working on color balances manually, because Photoshop can and will make a mistake and sample its data incorrectly, and then you get bad color representation or little coldness in the color balance, like too much blue basically, or too much warmth, yellows and oranges. Or it can be completely out of whack. It can be like purples or greens. I've seen it. So, that's it. Thanks for chiming in. If you watched, I'd appreciate it if you subscribed. You don't have to. That's your choice. But it lets me know that my content is being enjoyed. And, I hope that you learned something out of this. If not, if you already knew, again, thanks for stopping by anyways. I appreciate it. But that's all for now. And next time, which I haven't decided what I'm gonna do for the next video. Maybe I'll go about noise removal and dust and scratches, like working with the threshold levels that we talked about. And so I guess that's what I'll do next, is that. So thanks. If you enjoyed, leave a like or subscribe. It's up to you. I'd prefer it, obviously. And I'll catch y'all next time.